I now want to just talk to you a minute about um, this case study that basically this is the most I guess this is the most success I've ever had doing nonprofit storytelling, and there were a lot of things that came together. I would love to take credit for all of it, and I can't. I can take credit for a lot of it, but there were a lot of really great people, both at the United Way and some of the other contractors that I worked with. Our web designer was absolutely incredible, and you're going to see some of his stuff there that they had actually contracted with the United Way. We just had this idea. It started like this. They said we're in trouble. We're trying to figure out how we're going to raise $75 million this year. And now the fortunate thing for me is I was already started. This was I want to say that I was probably there like 4 or 5 months before this question was asked. We were adjusting their brand. We were refreshing things. We were updating colors. We were figuring out this whole like how they're communicating, what they looked like, how they felt, all of these very important things. I was learning what the problems were in the organization and how they communicated, that their team was going through a huge adjustment. The boss, the VP of marketing had just left, and there was a lot of, just like a lot of strife there. That happened between the team. Some people were really up in arms. Some people were wounded. It was really dicey getting in there. So here we are a couple months later. We patched up things. We've had tough conversations. We've been steady. We have encouraged people and shown, like I find that the best way to change situations like that is you kind of have to open yourself up. You have to be vulnerable. You have to tell people who you are, and then it has to be real. Like I couldn't lie to people about who I was because that wouldn't hold up. I have to tell them who I am and what I care about, and then I have to be that person. So that we had established all of those things when we had this problem. So it started with a photo. Like it started with we were looking around. This is just at the time of the Avengers is coming out, and we're trying to figure out what could be. So let me jump back to some slides here. So this is the mayor of LA at the time coming out in the capes and goggles. This is basically the symbols for the entire campaign. But we started with this one photo that we found, and that's this woman right here. And we were looking all around and thinking what we were going to do, and then I saw this image, and I was like, "That's it. That's exactly what we need to do." And it was silly, and it was fun, and it translated very easy. And the idea was that once you give to the United Way, you become a workplace hero. And so you have this cape and goggles, and that was it. And so that real tiny, tiny thing is very scalable. And that was what we did. So we built the whole campaign around become a donor, become a workplace hero. And there were a lot of things that had to meet a lot of criteria. Like, for example, here in LA, it has to be something that's translatable for 17 million people. We have white collar workers, we have blue collar workers, men, women, every ethnicity. It has to translate. It has to translate quick. It has to not be uh, rooted in language. It has to be something that is super understandable. So it has to cross boundaries like really quickly. And who doesn't want to be a hero, right? We all do. So that was kind of the idea. And then we started putting things together. We had to go with some classics, right? Like a classic Superman. And these posters started going up. They went around town. They were in the businesses where United Way already had great relationships with. Then a we had to build a commercial, and it's really funny because I talked about storyboards earlier, and usually there's a treatment that gets done when we talk about commercials or we talk about any kind of video or something like that. So I had the chance today. I found my old pitch for this whole idea, and it is bad looking compared to what we ended up doing. It's just really funny because it's 9 pages long. It has the full script in it. I had worked out the whole script. I had worked out a whole bunch of ideas of what I was thinking, but it is chicken scratch drawings, and it's really funny. And it also is especially hysterical because when I first had this idea, I brought it to some friends of mine, and I was like, "Listen, this is what I'm trying to do. And I think this is going to be just a really big thing." And honestly, they didn't get it, and it was a little rough. It was a bit of a gut check because I was like, "Oh no, is this not going to work? Oh no, like I think this is going to work." But I had to stick to my guns. I had to stick to my guns because the group that I brought this to, they were storytellers, but they weren't in the nonprofit space. They weren't dealing with organizations in downtown LA. So I stuck to my guns, and it seemed to work out. So here's some images from our commercial that we did. We actually used kids and families and like people that are involved in the different programs that United Way sponsors and the grants that they write. So they're putting this woman in her own house, this after school program, this mentorship. And then we have this is my friend Lynn. She was the poster girl for the whole thing. And yeah, this is just we made the commercial. I'll post it so you can see the whole thing. And then we also had to come up with some visuals. We were thinking about a new website and what's going to happen. We had to figure all that out and adjust it so that people could know what was going on. And so that's what we thought, like, just like the Daily Planet kind of idea. It's a newspaper. And this is, again, remember, this is like 12 years ago. So we would have, if it were today, we would have thought mobile first. It would have been a lot more interactive because things are so much more interactive now. The fun part was seeing what people did after they got into it. Here's some a few pictures. This is this was the young adults for that are associated with, it was like young professionals associated with United Way. And so they packed backpacks. These backpacks went out to kids in one of their programs. We have Lockheed Martin getting involved, and then Enterprise Rent-A-Car. They did this all on their own. This is what's crazy. It was like spur of the moment. They're taking their own pictures. They're sending stuff back. It was wild. It was absolutely just a wild time. The results was $150 million raised over 24 months. And then this photo is actually from the community impact. This was the piece that we sent back of like, here's what happened. Here's what happened because of you, because of your giving. We had to keep everybody in the loop, right? That's the whole point. If we're not keeping them in the loop, what are we doing? What are we doing? So that is the case study and I would, if you've got any more questions, please Slack them to me and I will answer them. There's probably some more I could share on it, and really kind of hype it up a little bit more if you want to see. The truth is though, we didn't do anything that was out of the norm, that was really crazy. It really comes down to that idea. And the thing I would suggest with it is don't use your first idea. Whatever your first idea is, it's probably cliche. It's probably been done before, and it's because our brain is looking for a solution as fast as humanly possible so we can get some dopamine. So sit and say, I'm not going to come up with an idea. I'm going to come up with 5 ideas or 10 ideas on what could happen. And then just throw spaghetti at the wall and see how your team, how does it sit with the C-suite, with your team? Everybody's got to take a whack at this idea. And if it lasts, you're going to be doing just great.